Who's next? So, your next performer has had sex for money once.
Let me stop you right there.
Was he good?
If you see, that's the question. If you've only had sex for money once, it was not any good, right?
Yeah.
No one came back for more.
There's no punctuation. There's no ellipses.
We had a little argument about this before the show. He was proud of having had sex for money once, and I'm like, well, that's a failure as a prostitute.
As a sex worker, Peter.
Sorry.
Come on.
Well, he's over 50, so at the time he would have been a prostitute. All right, we can move on.
Okay, well, but you will be able to see him at the El Tomatadero show at Longshot here.
It's where people throw tomatoes at the storyteller, or the comics, rather.
Yeah, it's a show going on Thursday here in Fountain Square. El Tomatadero, I believe is the name, yeah. A whole list of people that are telling bad jokes, and you could throw produce at them.
Yes. Well, it's not real produce. Which, yeah, exactly. I think they need to throw real rotten tomatoes at them.
I think
it's
people
like
can
little
bring
stuffed tomatoes.
Yeah,
Whatever.
well, it should be real.
I would throw gherkins.
Oh man, what would be the best produce to throw at somebody?
Something that's been soaked in vinegar, so it'll get their eyes. Banana peppers. I think we should throw banana peppers at them. All right.
Anyway,
All right. So we failed as a sex worker. What else?
yeah, but you will be able to see him at El Tomatadero at Longshot.
Don't try to buy sex from him there. He's only there for the comedy.
Yeah.
All right? Please welcome to the stage.
Bring it over, Sean Hayes!
So this wasn't going to be a part of my set, but I feel I have to explain. This was long before like even AOL Men for Men was around for chatting, for those of you old enough to remember. And those of you who don't know, computers were a lot harder to work back then. So this was like, when was this, like 92? 92? Okay, so there was a whole group of guys at the gay bar I worked at who were in a chat room. They were older. I was 21, and I was not into older men. The one guy that was cute said, hey, do you want to have sex with my husband for his birthday for $100? I was like, I could use $100, and I would have sex with you. We had the best pre-application three-way ever. And then I did the sex I was paid for, and it was okay. It wasn't that good. I don't perform well under pressure. I'm not like a perform. I'm a like, oh, this is happening. Oh, I can do sex now. I can't schedule sex. I'm like in the moment. Yeah. And I told them, I'm like, I don't want people to know, because I had this weird thing about like, I got to keep my reputation pure. That was my roommate. He knows way too much about me now. I don't have any sex club stories tonight, but you've heard them all. And so, like, when we went out to dinner, like, there was a birthday dinner, they let me come, and I was just, like, the piece of meat on the side, right? So when the waiter came, he's like, this is the gift. I'm like, oh, fuck, what did I just sign up for? And mind you, $100 was a lot for 1992, but now I wish it was, like, $200 or $300, right? In hindsight. And then I'm like, don't tell anybody, like, this is, I'm not going to be the bar, and the bar was called Oz. Like, I'm not going to be the Oz slut. Like, people are going to be following the Yellow Brick Road over here, and, like, crawling up my ass every weekend, okay? Wow, this went totally, I had a whole other thing on. But this is great. So then and mind you, I was a 21-year-old little twink. I wasn't the bear daddy before you with the like belly hanging out that turns on the guys that like bears. I'm trying to start. I wore this for you guys, I sat on the side. So then people started coming up to me and they're like, Sean, hey, are you available next weekend? I'm like, no, I'm not available next weekend. So I could have got a lot of offers. Every weekend someone was offering me to have sex with me. I only did it with the free ones, not the ones that charged me. That's where I was stupid. But I was not attracted I wasn't attracted to any of the ones that wanted to pay me. I wasn't, And back then I had a challenge. There was a guy, this is funny, I can't believe this is where this is going. There was a guy at the bar who was like a top only. And I'm a Scorpio, so I like a challenge. And I wasn't gonna be like I don't want to label. I don't want to be labeled the bottom. I don't want to be the bottom of the bar, So Robert and I were having sex. He fucked me a lot, whatever. And he was like, I'm top only, And then we went away for a weekend somewhere, and the owner of the bar is house somewhere, like in the desert out in Palm Springs or something. And I told Robert, I'm like, one day, dude, I'm gonna fuck you, and you're gonna like it. Like, it's gonna happen. And he's like, no, I'm a top only. I'm like, well, anyone who says like that is not top only. Yeah, I fucked the shit out of him, and then I have no recollection, like any good Scorpio. I'm like, challenge met. I don't even know how I got home. All I know is I fucked him, and I'm like, told you you'd like it. And then, yeah, that was that. So, I'm a lightweight. Thank you. My Scorpio powers ran strong that day. I was very happy. So, now do I go into what I was going to do? Yes, let's do this, right? Keep them guessing. So, picture it. It's September 1988, Laguna Beach, the gay mecca of Orange County, California. Right? Me, young, 18-year-old little twink, wearing my Guess jeans, pulled taut. And then my shirt all bellowy out, like I was Saved by the Bell before Saved by the Bell was Saved by the Bell. And I'm sitting, and I had no idea like where my life was going or what was happening. I got in a fight with my family. I somehow knew where the gay mecca of Orange County was because I was not gay prior to this. I was like a bee to the hive. Like I could smell it. I could feel the magnetic pull of the earth take me to where the gays were. And I sat down on this bench overlooking a cliff down to the ocean, contemplating and trying to guess, like, where's life going? Who am I? What's happening now? And then, like, where's my life going? Like, I didn't know where it was going. I was making a big life change. And then my chariot appeared in a late old Jeep Grand Cherokee Wagoneer. Yeah, the old ugly ones. Yeah. I don't even think it had wood paneling. And the third time it came by, I was like, I'm 18, I look 15, I should get in this guy's car. He promised me an evening of beer and movies, right? Which was the 80s Netflix and chill. This was 1988, as I stated. So I got in Paul's car, not knowing where we're going or what's happening, but I'm like, beer, I'm 18, I can have a beer, why not? Watch a movie, I love movies. So Paul takes me to his apartment. I still have no idea what's actually gonna happen. And go into the stranger's house, sit down, he gives me a beer, me a minor, like, here's a beer. And he puts on a porn. I'm like, oh, this is what's happening, which I had never had sex prior to this. I didn't even think about it. I mean, I got very creative masturbating, but nothing like this. So I was all right. I'm like, all right, I guess this is what we're doing, like some gay sex, okay. And Paul and I did everything that two consenting vanilla gays can do, I suppose. And I don't know how I knew how to do anything that I hadn't been paid for sex ed or tried it or anything yet. Masturbated with like raspberry jelly once. That's about as exotic as it got. It scratched the tub. It was preserved, so it had seeds. Yeah. And then my roommate, who was my aunt, and we're like, how did the tub get scratched? Oh, I don't know. One of those mysteries, I'll keep them guessing. I don't know how a porcelain tub gets scratched by raspberry seeds. That's so strange. So Paul and I had our sex. It was great. To the album Sweet Dreams Are Made of This by the Eurythmics. I still have his CD. Yeah, I took it from him. Like, the Sweet Dreams are made of this. I was like, fuck yeah, this is amazing. Then I walked out of his house and the whole world aligned. I'm like, oh. Like, I know I'm not guessing anymore. I know who I am. And I know what's going to happen now. I'm addicted to Laguna Beach and I'm going to come here like 2 or 3 times a week to have sex with Paul. It was just okay. But then I had to live a world where I had to keep other people guessing, right? Because the next day, I was moving into my Catholic grandmother's house to live with her. Yeah. And I couldn't come out to her when I'd been gay for like 10 minutes. So, it's a process. So I had to move another. So then I would attend these trips and go to Laguna 2 or 3 times a day, and I would go by Paul's house and be like, Paul, I'm coming up, okay. So I'd have to lie, right, or tell fibs that I was going to go see a friend. Paul certainly wasn't a friend. Like, we only had one purpose. And so I had to keep her guessing on that. And then when I had a boyfriend, I would go down and be like, I'm going to go stay at a friend's house, not tell her I was going to a boyfriend's house. And I was addicted to Laguna, and I was trying to make the most of it. I forget to breathe. I should have some more whiskey.
Yeah.
And I was addicted to the Laguna. Where was I? So I would go down a lot, and then, I was going down a lot. Yeah, I was. This is weird sitting. I don't know. And I loved going down the Laguna, and I would go like cruise the beach, and the bar was a bar and a hotel that overlooked a cliff on the beach. So I'd go cruising and do that a lot. And this will be a weird interlude. But one time when I was walking down by the bar, I saw this guy like dressed in leather on the side. I didn't even think about it. He was tying his boot. I'm like, oh, redheaded, who's that? Anyway, so I was walking down to the beach, and then somebody said, hey, you, come here. And as we know, I don't turn down an offer from a stranger. So I went into the hotel room. Like, he brought me in, sat me down in a hotel room, and I sat in a chair just like this. And I was just sitting there, and I'm like, they were just keeping me guessing. I don't know why I was there. Like, why am I here? What's happening? And guys kept coming in and out and going to the bathroom. I'm like, why is everyone going to the bathroom? I was very naive, never done drugs, barely drank, except for that beer with Paul. So I didn't realize they were in there like doing drugs and other stuff, right? It didn't even dawn on me. But that's where I met my first kind of boyfriend, kind of whatever, Tom. He was the one that brought me into the hotel room. But then I hear this voice, and it's my cousin Mark, and he was the guy dressed in leather. Right? I'm like, Mark, what are you doing here? And he's like, Sean, what are you doing here? Because Mark used to babysit me when I was a kid. So, but I was like, oh, good. Now there's another gay in the family. Like, I didn't know if I was the only one. I was the first grandkid because my mom had me when she was 17. So there wasn't anybody else yet. So no one was old enough to be gay or to know they were. So I'm like, oh, that's fun. There's a person in the family. Sadly, he died like a month later. It was the age or something like that. So not to bring the party down. It happens. It was the 90s. But I was like, darn it. Now there's nobody. I know, right? When you're 54 and you lived through like the peak of AIDS, everyone died. That's the way it was. We can all laugh. We can all move on. It's gonna be okay. I didn't die. I didn't get AIDS. It's all about choices and how you handle them. So to move on from death is hilarious. AIDS is hilarious. And mind you, Paul kept everyone guessing. Like, no one in the family knew that he was gay or that he had died of AIDS, everything. But anyways, so then I met my next boyfriend, Alan, at Disneyland where I was working, and through a bunch of weird circumstances, Alan ended up moving in with me at my grandmother's house after we like snuck in his bedroom window and snuck out and went to my grandmother's house, and then he never left. Yeah. And then he got a job at Disneyland in my same department. I'm like, what is going on? So he was working with me and living with me, and we were keeping my grandmother guessing and pretending like he was sleeping on the floor. Alan gave amazing blowjobs. He was not sleeping on the floor. That kid left me a hickey on the end of my dick. So then my grandmother one day was like, there's something going on, and found like cum towels and love letters. So that all ended. And then she sat us down and she was like, Sean, you will not be gay. I will shoot you dead if you stay gay. And I'm like, this bitch is not going to kill me because I'm her favorite. But let's get through this. So I'm like, oh no, Grandma, I was going to change. And then Alan was like, what do you mean you were going to change? You didn't tell me. And I'm like, dude, read the room. Like, where are you? Right? Like, I want to be where you are. Like, are you in Oz? Like, that part shit down a long time ago. And so then he was instantly homeless. And by this point, I hated Alan like he'd overtaken my life, so I was happy. But then he told everybody at Disneyland about my grandmother and how she kicked him out and he had no place to live and we were gay and blah, blah, blah. So literally like in a matter of a few hours, everybody in my life found out that I was gay. So there was no more guessing. There was no more keeping people guessing. It was out there. So now like 30, 35 years later, when I have to come out again and people are like, you're gay? I'm like, weren't you there when the memo was put out like at Disneyland? So anyways, that's my story. And Disneyland's so gay anyways, how did they not? I became the ambassador of all the gays at Disneyland. It was really a lot of pressure. I don't recommend. I now have a fast-stated rule. I don't want to work with any other gays. I want to be the only one. So that's my keep 'em guessing story and my hooker story. No offense. Thank you. I was good. I could have made a lot of money. Thank you.
Sean Hayes, everybody. Come Towels and Love Letters. That'll be the title of his autobiography. And by the way, no one here, not Sean, nobody, none of you have to explain to the rest of us, least of all me, why you failed at a life of prostitution. You do not have to explain that to me, okay? Ever. Just want to make that clear.